Today on Broadscast, it's the kickoff to the holiday season, but not everyone's feeling so merry. Psychotherapist Stacey Kaiser is here with some tips that could save your sanity.
Broad topics, broad minds, broad hosts, but not just for broads. This is Broadscast with Kim Goldman and Jackie McDougall.
Welcome to Broadscast. Hi, Kim.
Hello, Jackie.
How are you doing?
Doing okay.
The
Yeah.
holiday season is here. How are you feeling about that?
How
How are you guys feeling about that out there in Broad's land?
I feel like it happened fast. Like I know
Yeah.
that I always I don't know. I just as soon as October comes around, it's just like, speed of lightning.
Right,
that,
right.
Like we're already.
I agree.
I
It
don't
just
know.
flies.
Yeah, I'm not ready. I guess apparently Thanksgiving is coming up, and I'm like, hey Sam, we don't have any plans.
No?
No, but that's not atypical. But yeah, I'm not really.
I thought you'd go over to the family, the Denise. and-
No, we're gonna. I think that I don't know what we're gonna do. We may just
Oh.
have movie day and I'll cook or
that
go
sounds
to
nice.
the car show or something.
The car show.
Yeah, the LA car shows is.
I'm sorry, I just fell asleep.
I know, but my kid's into that, and sometimes it's cool. But it's the 19th and 20th, I think, and then it's also the week of Thanksgiving. So
Oh.
I don't know. We'll see. What are
Fun.
you doing?
Well, we're having Fakesgiving
Oh,
on Sunday because
very nice.
not everybody could be around on Thanksgiving. So
Right.
we're going to do that. And then I don't know. I'm actually looking for some community service opportunities on Thanksgiving. So if any of you guys know of any in the LA area, that's what I'd like to do with my kids.
Yeah.
Since we're having,
Right.
then they get the best of both worlds.
Right.
So, but not everybody is looking at the holidays in a positive
I think
light.
people are nervous about the holidays coming off of a pretty contentious election.
Yeah.
I think people are a little nervous about that.
Well, I think the state of the country and emotionally is so
Fragile.
yes. So we are actually going to have Stacey Kaiser. She's been on the
Oh,
show, but
love
not for a
Stacey,
very
yeah.
long time. She's an amazing psychotherapist, and she's going to talk to us about the state of the country, but also kind of give some strategies and tips for surviving the holidays, and
Right.
actually answering a few listener questions.
Ooh. We have
Yeah.
listener questions.
We have listener questions.
We've
which
reached.
I had reached out on Facebook and asked people, like, if you have any, holiday drama or things that you'd like some, free advice. And I got a really pretty amazing response.
Yeah.
And people are going through some stuff.
Yeah.
The
Stuff that's
messages,
unique to the holidays, or just
well, I think issues that are happening that maybe would happen throughout the year get a little bit more amped up over
Right.
the holidays. Like,
right.
When you're adding other family members and in-laws and,
Alcohol.
alcohol, yes, and custody and, just emotional stuff. It's like the Christmas and the whole holiday season is like shoved down our throats, like
Right.
from the media and from the commercial side of it. And I think that we're supposed to be in this specific emotional place, but,
Right.
and when we're not, it can be that much more depressing. Don't
Right.
you think?
Yeah. I mean, I think there are expectations, and I think people deal with them differently, and I think that's why Stacey can be helpful. But I don't know. I'm over it. In general, like the older I get, the less I subscribe to the expectations and just kind of do my own thing, which is why I said to Sam, hey, let's have a movie day on Thanksgiving. Like, we don't have to,
Right.
it's going to look different. It's going to look different for us. And I think for other people, you have to find ways to accept and to make what your situation is work for you. And I think that's where, maybe Stacey can help. But I think there's just, I don't know. It's hard.
It's really hard,
Yeah.
and especially I think when there's loss involved as well,
Mm-hmm.
and it's weird because around the holidays, I feel like there are a lot of people who, like during that season, and it's probably no different from other seasons, in the calendar, but I see people who go through what feels like extreme struggles, during the holidays with
Because
illness and loss. And,
Well, there's such a focus on family and tradition and togetherness that when you're missing someone or something, it's like the microscope is focusing on that loss because there's something missing. I mean, in our house, Thanksgiving was always the most important holiday for us because it was the one holiday that we were all together when my brother was alive. And so I placed a tremendous amount of importance on Thanksgiving. And now it's just not that important in our family. And that's really hard for me. Christmas, Hanukkah, all that other stuff. It's like, in our family, it was never a huge focus because we were Jewish and, Hanukkah's different time every year. And it just.
Did you say hot Hanukkah?
No, I said Hanukkah.
Oh,
yeah.
I think I just made something up.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It
sounded
but that's what I'm saying. So for us, Thanksgiving was the holiday.
Yeah.
And so for me, Thanksgiving's a really, really hard time of year. The other stuff, you know what? It's just, I don't know.
You wake up and you get through it. Like there are certain. I think the anticipation sometimes of certain holidays. It's hard. Do you find that it's harder, or do you think that day?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like specifically with me and Thanksgiving, because when my brother was alive, that was the one holiday that I knew we were always going to be together.
Right.
We didn't always do birthdays. We didn't always do all the other holidays. So, but Thanksgiving was the one that we just made sure it was. My dad and my stepmom hosted at our house. Family, friends came, but for the other holidays, we didn't have that level. We just didn't. I grew up in a house where we celebrated Christmas and Hanukkah. But
really?
Yeah, because my dad's second wife was Catholic. So until she converted to Judaism, but we still always had a Christmas tree. But as I grew up, I don't know. I mean, I have traditions that I do, but it never involved my brother. So the Thanksgiving part is really hard for me. Yeah. Just because that was the one holiday that I knew I was always going to be with him.
Right. Are you able to find a way to honor that? Or is it kind of like for me, I just shut down when I try not to.
Well, this is the first year without your dad. And so even though, you didn't always spend your holidays, it's still a part of your family. That was still, you have all of your memories as a child. Like it just comes with a lot, and so I think, yes, to answer your question, yes, there's anticipation. And then it's the numbness, and I think
I'm really good at the numbness.
Yeah.
I just think that's why I'm telling you this before Stacy's on, because I think she would actually have something to say about that.
That family that always does spoofs on the holidays, that Holderness family, whatever, the husband and the wife and the kids.
Okay.
They did one just recently. Actually, I listened to it yesterday about the holidays, about Thanksgiving. And they said, they did it to Welcome to My House, the Florida song.
Oh, yeah.
And they said, welcome to my couch. And they basically said, drink a lot, stuff your feelings down. Like, it was actually very funny. But
so we could have written it?
Yeah. I think that's what a lot of people do. They just swallow it and get through it. And, we
it just
all know
makes
that's not healthy.
It makes it more appetizing when you have.
Yeah. So hopefully Stacy can teach us some tips to not do those things.
I know, right?
She is a licensed psychotherapist, author, relationship expert, and media personality. She's been on major networks like CNN, NBC, CBS, ABC, Today Show. I've seen her a handful of times. And she also is like a regular on Fatal Vows.
She is the voice of reason on Fatal Vows.
Yeah, which is on, what is it?
Investigation Discovery.
In its 4th season, and she's going to come and give us some awesome tips. She's amazing. She's no BS about Stacy, but that's what we love about her.
Without further ado, Stacy Kaiser.
Whoop whoop.
Hello.
Hi.
We
Thanks
were
for
just
being
talking
on
about
the
you.
show.
Yeah.
That was like such a cute in unison hi.
It's
We've
funny
been working
because
on that,
Kim and I were discussing our baggage before you got on because we didn't want you to hear it.
Well, now I feel like I missed out.
Hey, you know us pretty well. You know our baggage. Yeah.
We're just talking about like the holidays and the holidays, but also the state of our country and our communities in general right now. I think everybody's feeling a little bit fragile.
I think so. I mean, I think that there is sort of a combined thing going on. There's whatever we have going on inside of ourselves. And then there's whatever we have going on inside of our circle of friends or family. And then there's what we're seeing in our country, on the news, in the larger community. So that's really overwhelming when you have all three of those working, on your emotional well-being.
So what do you think that, I mean, I know that I've read online that a lot of people are anticipating, what Thanksgiving or the holidays are going to look like coming off of, the election, and how there's split emotions in their families, and, people have been uninvited from family events because of what's going on. Like, this is unique, I think, this year. So do you have you been seeing that in your feeds and your practice? And
yeah, this is kind of funny and kind of sad all in one, but a friend of mine unfriended her aunt because she didn't like her political postings that were going on Facebook, and she was posting, 5 or 10 a day. And rather than just sort of unfollow the feed, she just unfriended her. And so the aunt uninvited her for Thanksgiving.
Oh.
And my friend was pretty appalled about it. And I had to tell her, okay, well, you didn't have a conversation with Auntie. You didn't decide to just unfollow her feed. You blatantly cut her off. And so how else was she supposed to take it?
Right.
And so they're in the process of trying to work it out. Her aunt is now not letting her friend her back. It's become kind of interesting, and the whole family is involved, and her mother, who's the sister of the aunt, is all upset. And so, yes, I'm seeing things like this all the time. And part of what makes me sad is I always tell everybody that your relationships need to matter more than politics, political choices, all of that stuff, especially the people that you actually love and care about, like my friend who actually does love and care about her aunt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it can be really hard, because I think that seeing people on social media, first of all, I think people don't realize that they're saying words that they would never say when they're in real life. Like, you'd never walk into a party and just start spewing the stuff that you're doing online. But I think that when you know so much of what makes people tick and what their belief system is, it makes it hard to continue those relationships. Don't you think?
I think so. And I think what's happening is people are having a lot of feelings. And a lot of times when people have a lot of feelings, they don't often think about the consequences. They don't think about what it is that they're saying or how they're acting. And I really wish that I could just tell everyone, whatever you're feeling, take a deep breath. And before you do anything, really think about whether or not you're going to post that, say that, unfriend the person, cancel them from Thanksgiving, whatever it is. Because I think what's happening is a lot of people are becoming very reactive instead of, taking the time to respond, which is what, you want to do.
I don't know. We were talking about this on a past show that, I have unfollowed people, which is different than unfriend. I have unfollowed because there have been things that have been said that I'm like, I just don't want that toxicity in my life today. But I also then feel like I'm disconnected, or that I'm kind of living in a bubble in a way. Do you have any thoughts or feelings on how to balance those things? Like, I feel like I want to take care of myself, but I also I'm missing my friends right now, but I'm also like, I don't want to listen to your BS right now either,
On both sides.
Well, what I like
on both
about
sides,
the
of course.
unfollow,
Yeah.
What I like about the unfollow feature, or the fact that you can just choose to not go on your social media for a period of time, is that rather than just cutting everyone off and not, dumping them, unfriending them, whatever, is that you can, when you're in a right headspace, go back and take a look. So I have one friend that was writing some really hostile stuff, but I've known him for so long, like a million years, that it's almost like he's a relative. So I don't want to not know him anymore, but I have unfollowed him. But I periodically go back to his page in case he posts a picture of his kids, or a trip to the snow. So that at least I'm, keeping up to date and remaining interactive. And I also think that we really need to pick and choose when we want to watch the news, when we want to go on social media, when we want to talk to certain people. Because if you're finding that you're in an emotionally heightened state,
yes,
you don't want to sort of put that in front of you 24/7 and make it worse. And I just want to say this. I know you guys are actually really good at this, but whatever you do have going on with the election and what's going on in the world and the new president and all that other stuff, you need to make time to have a break and have some fun and do some other stuff.
Right.
And so one of the things I'm really hoping happens with Thanksgiving is that people find gratitude and are thankful and enjoy their families and unplug from all of this, because there are still really, amazing, great things going on in your daily life, even if you're unhappy with other things that are going on.
Yeah, I spend holiday with my girlfriend and her family, and they're very, lots of opinions are flying around. And I said, we need to evoke some rules, for the holidays, that if and I even did it at my charity event this past weekend. I said, if anybody wants to say anything disparaging about either candidate, and say anything negative about the politics, you owe me $5 for my charity.
Perfect.
And people were relieved.
I love that.
And it's like a swear jar. So I told my girlfriend's family that I want to do the same thing for the holidays. Like I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to fight. So if we're going to do it, you owe $20 to the donation jar or something, and that has hopefully.
That's great.
Well, it sets boundaries and reminds us that there are other things that, like you said, Stacey, that we can talk about that don't involve things that are so volatile right now.
Yeah, and anyone that knows me or you knows that you'll have a conversation that's uncomfortable.
Right.
Right.
You'll look at unpleasant things and talk about them, but there does need to be a time and place. So I think that everyone who's listening should just, if they have someone around that's doing that when they're not supposed to, they should just donate $5 to your charity.
There you go. Hey, yeah. So Stacey, as we set up at the top of the show, we have some listeners who've got their own personal dilemmas or dramas or that they'd like to run by you. So first on the line, we have Tracy. Tracy, you with us?
Yep, I'm here.
So Tracy, meet Stacey. What's your question?
Oh,
hello.
What's your question?
Hello.
We can.
Hi.
Hi.
Go ahead.
Oh, so I'm just. Oh, okay. So I thought it was going to be more of an intro than that.
We can sing.
Oh, okay.
And we're doing cartwheels in the studio for you.
Oh,
Tracy.
gotcha.
No.
Okay.
Stacey's here. Stacey Kaiser is our psychotherapist here on the show, and she is here to help. So I hear you have a
okay. Yeah.
a question.
So I guess the issue I'm going through now is I have nowhere to go for Thanksgiving. My kids are with my ex-husband. So, oops, that's my phone telling me to call in. Okay. Here. So I they're with him. The kids are with my ex for Thanksgiving, and my family, my parents are dead. My sister lives in Vermont, and my boyfriend probably has to work. He's not sure for sure yet. He doesn't get a schedule until next week, but he'll probably be working. So it looks like I might end up being alone for Thanksgiving, which is kind of a bummer.
So, Stacey, you must hear that a lot from people that are isolated or alone on the holidays. What do you?
I do. I mean, well, I have a couple of things to say, and this sort of is across the board for anyone who is sharing their kids, which I share my children as well. It is not my year either. I think it's really important that you make a dinner in that week or weekend anyway. So I don't have my kids this year. We are doing our Thanksgiving on Friday because I want a chance to have, that holiday with them and to feel that experience, and so do they. And so it's a win-win, and I'm just going to make sure that it isn't all the same identical food, that there's some other options so they aren't complaining that they had turkey stuffing and mashed potatoes again. But I think that's one part of it. And then I think the other part of it is to not let yourself be isolated and to really put yourself out there to your friends and let them know that you do not have a place to go. It has happened to me. I've told people, and there's always at least one person who is willing to put one extra seat at their table so that you aren't by yourself.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought, too, except I put it out there, and not one person. Not only that, it pisses me off that so many people I have hosted, because I, too, had been in that position before, so I didn't want other people to be in that position. So for several years, I've done orphan Thanksgivings. This year, I just had foot surgery, so I'm not really in a position. I'm in a boot for the next 2 weeks, so it's not like I can even make a Thanksgiving to do that. And, unfortunately, my friends have not come through for me. That's what's really depressing.
Okay, well, first of all, I just want to say you don't have to make your Thanksgiving. So whatever you do with your kids could be at a restaurant. It could be brought in from the supermarket. They all have ready-made stuff. Like, it's just about having the dinner and the time together. But I am wondering how it is that you mention this to your friends.
Well, one of them, basically, I put something up on Facebook that was kind of a funny thing. And I'm like, unfortunately, it was a self-giving. I don't know if you'd seen the video. It's kind of a jokey thing where this woman is basking in having Thanksgiving because she can't stand her family. And I put, unfortunately, this is going to be my fate. because I don't even know where to go for Thanksgiving. And, a whole bunch of my friends, liked it and said, ha, but not one person was like, hey, oh, that's too bad. Why don't you come to my house?
I know. I had a gut feeling you were going to tell me something like that. That's not asking people to invite you for Thanksgiving.
No, I actually asked a few people. One of my friends, she's like, well, I don't know what I'm doing yet. I may be doing something, I may not. But she wasn't saying to me, well, if I am doing something, I'll bring you. She didn't say that. I just said, look, I have nowhere to go for Thanksgiving. What are you doing? And she's like, I don't know yet. I'm still figuring it out. I might have to go to my sister's. But she wasn't like, hey, why don't you come with me? And another one of my friends, I pointed out and said and asked point blank weeks ago, and he suddenly made plans to go out of town instead.
Okay. Well, that's just one person who's a definite no, and he's going out of town, so that's not really a no. But if it were me, I would just literally call or text my friends probably so that they weren't so uncomfortable and just say, listen, I'm very sad this year. I don't have my kids with me, and my boyfriend's going to be working. And if you have an extra place at your Thanksgiving table, I would be really grateful to be included, and I would be happy to bring, pick up a pie or whatever to contribute. That's how I would do it.
Okay.
The other thing too, Tracy, just as an aside, at the top of the show, Jackie was talking about, maybe doing some volunteer work or doing some community service on that day.
Yeah, I had thought of that, but with my foot in a boot, I'm not sure I could be standing at a food bank giving out food.
Right.
So, yeah, I had thought about doing that, but I won't get the boot off.
They have chairs at food banks.
Yeah.
No. They have chairs at food banks.
Yeah. That would work too. I mean, that's what we're doing because we have to have Thanksgiving at a different time, just because it doesn't work for family, and we really wanted, people to be together. So we're doing it Sunday. I'm calling it Fakesgiving, and that's what we're doing. And so Thursday we're open, and so I was like, that's a perfect opportunity for the kids to do something to give back, and all of us as a family, which I know is different, but I'm just trying to look at it in a way that there's an opportunity, because normally I'd be cooking that day. So,
and you know what I love about what you just said is when times are tough for yourself, it always feels better to do something for someone else, especially if no one's doing anything for you. So I think that's a great idea.
Well, thank you so much, Tracy.
Thanks, Tracy.
For calling.
Okay, well, thank you.
Good luck with your foot.
Okay.
So thank you, Stacy. So before the show, we got a listener sent a little message in asking for your advice.
Hi, my name is Heather, and my question is, how do you handle a situation in which your in-laws, your husband's family, they are losing their minds over the fact that I am not going to attend Christmas, that I am instead going to stay home with my dad and my sons and try to provide a happier Christmas for them, because I lost my mom in April. It was a really unexpected, tragic, horrific experience that happened. We didn't see it coming, and we really haven't figured out how to maneuver without her in our lives, and Christmas is going to be really difficult. And I can't bear the fact of my dad might be alone on Christmas Day, whereas he'd normally be with my mom. So I'm going to spend that day with him at our house, and then try to recreate a little bit of what we've enjoyed in Christmas over the years. And my husband's family has just lost it about the fact that I am not going to be there on Christmas. It's a slap in the face to them. So I don't really know how to maneuver that in a way that gets them to understand this isn't about them, it's about my dad and my sons and heck, me. So what's a great way to navigate this? What's your best advice?
First and foremost, in an ideal situation, what I always tell people is if you have something you're trying to do and then you have other people who are going to be upset, sad, angry that you're not coming with them, is there a way that you can make a piece of your day to include them? Can you have cocktails together? Can you show up for dessert? Can you invite them for dessert? Can you have breakfast that morning? Is there a way so that they're actually seeing you on that day? And since she's not here to respond to whether or not that's doable, I'll say what my second thing is, which is one of the things that I've always found about the holidays is that you have your selfish people and your selfless people. There's so many people who are the ones who are the accommodators, the ones that are like, I will do whatever you want, and they just give in and say yes, 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 because they're so selfless. And then you have the selfish people who are saying, I don't really care that you had a death in your family and the holidays are going to be hard for you. I want you here. You should do this for me. And so what you ultimately have to do is say to that person, I love you. I care about you, but this is something I really need to do. And then I would offer them something equivalent to Kim's Thanksgiving. That's what you called it, right?
Oh, that was
I would
mine.
try and celebrate. Oh, yeah. I was trying to celebrate. I would say celebrate something that is, Christmas, Hanukkah, Thanksgiving on a different day so that the people feel like they're valued and appreciated, because, the holiday season really is about spending time with people you care about. And so you don't want people to feel completely neglected because you're trying to take care of yourself. So offering them some kind of a consolation prize is a good thing. It can help.
We were talking about this at the beginning of the show too. I mean, as I've gotten older, I'm over it. Like I'm over it. I'm over
not
the
trying to please you,
No,
Stacey.
I mean that I'm over the expectations, and I'm really trying to take care of me and my kid and not be so wrapped up in the obligation of certain things. And I feel like at the stage in my life that I've surrounded myself with people that accept that about me. But I'm also unique that my family is not here. I don't share holidays with my ex-husband. So I feel like I've created that environment, but I listen to people. I'm like, you could just say no.
Right.
And I watch people try
yeah.
to, I watch people try to squeeze themselves into all of these weird shapes and sizes to accommodate everybody else, and they're exhausted. I'm like, that's not what this is supposed to be about. So what does that say about those relationships and, those expectations? But I don't know if that's realistic.
I have a mixed response to what you just said. On one hand, I'm like, woohoo, you go, girl. And on the other hand, I'm like, be careful. Don't be too nasty to anyone that really matters.
Right.
So it's kind of a balance between you do need to do you. And at the end of the day, people need to understand that, whatever your family situation is, whether it's the person that, spoke to us or you or anyone else, that you have to take care of your family and your needs. But it's also about trying to make other people know if they matter, that they actually do matter. And what I think happens on the holidays is people get so uncomfortable. They don't want to tell people no. I mean, you sound pretty good at it. But a lot of people don't want to say no. And so they end up either sucking it up or biting their tongue or doing something they don't want to do, or saying no in a really hard and nasty way. And that's why I'm always trying to find some kind of a compromise where it's like, okay, we'll come for dessert, or you can come to us for dessert, or let's do something either that morning or the next day so that we're still together, but I'm also getting what I want.
Right. Well, it's funny because my family, which is enormous, is back east, but my husband only has the one brother. And years ago, his family would come, and my sister-in-law has other family who's close by to me. So she would try to kind of balance all of it and squeeze it all in and get stressed out. And, the first, and this would always happen, like the first party, which if she went to her family, like dinner when it was 2 hours later than they expected to have it or whatever. And then it goes into our, and so I used to get so worked up. And I think the biggest issue wasn't the fact, was A, that she didn't create boundaries and say, hey, this is what's happening, and you just kind of have to work with me. But B, that I would take it so personally. Like, I don't do that anymore, but I also ask straight out, like, can you please set up the boundaries and the expectations in advance? Because I don't want to expect you for dessert at 5:00 and then you come at 7. Like, I'm all about the pre-communication of like how things may go, but I'm not. I used to get so upset, and I feel like people don't communicate in a way that's loving when people are willing to get into knock down, drag out fights because they want to be together. Do you know what I mean? It's like it kind of works against each other. So like, you don't want to be with me as much as I want to be with you. So I'm going to take you down and make you feel like crap like I do.
Oh, exactly. No, I think that is a lot of people's MO. And here's the truth. The holidays are kind of in a heightened emotional time. Even the people that tell me they don't care, like they'll be like, "Oh, Thanksgiving's just a Hallmark holiday. Who cares?" And I don't
really.
I've
never gotten a Thanksgiving card. I'm just kidding.
Well, you know what I mean. It's basically somebody like it's the turkey growers.
Right. Exactly.
It's something that they have they're not emotionally attached to at all.
Yep.
And they don't like turkey and blah 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 blah. It still seems to be that even those people are more in a heightened state, and so. There's pressure, there's emotions. People don't like to be alone for the holidays. And then there's that whole thing where everybody sort of ranks how much you care about them based on what you do for them at the holidays. You don't love me if you don't come to my house, or if you want to go be with someone else, or whatever it is. And so we just have to keep in mind that it's that kind of time, and to try and be extra sensitive.
Right. And then I think that, Kim and I were talking about earlier before you came on, that we all have problems. We all have loss. We all have things happening. Do you think it happens more around the holidays, or it's just that much because we're in that emotionally heightened state?
I think it's kind of both. I mean, the holidays, for most of us represent, a time that you're not working, a time you're supposed to be with people that you love. And I think it just magnifies those of us who we love and aren't here anymore, or who live far away. It just sort of magnifies the pain of that.
It's like, I think we're all set up for these days to be these perfect little, like, Norman Rockwell paintings of, like, pass the potatoes and Christmas
potatoes,
Christmas carols around the piano.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
right.
Like,
and
yeah.
Right. And I always tell people, you have to really try and be realistic about what your family is, because it's those kind of fantasies. You think you're walking into the Norman Rockwell painting, and then you have like the nagging mother-in-law, or
it's more like the Norman Bates.
It ends up being like the dog sitting around the table.
So bracing yourself for that kind of a person is always good. It's so funny, you guys. I bought there's these buttons they sell, like they have them on Amazon.com and other stuff. They say like no, yes, sorry, and you can hit the button and it'll say no in like 20 different ways, or hit the sorry button and it says sorry in 20 different ways. And I have a relative that always criticizes everything. And every year I get anxious about it. And this time I said, I'm just going to put the sorry button at the table. And every time she says like, oh, this stuffing's dry, I'm going to hit the button and it's going to go, sorry. I had a good time.
Oh, I love that.
Well, you could actually turn it into a drinking game as well.
No, that just would
100%.
make it worse. Though. Yeah.
So what happens?
Every time Aunt whatever just says something rude, let's all take a drink. I may try that this year.
Right. So what about, I mean, that aunt, or like the uncle who doesn't know when to shut up, or, the cousin who talks politics, or like, how do you keep your sanity, or like, how do you respond to that if you don't have the sorry button?
Yeah. Well, everyone still has time to get it. Especially if you have Amazon Prime, and I don't work for them. I'm just kidding.
We will put a link right there on our website.
But in all seriousness, I mean, I think one option is to actually try and make light of it. So before I did the sorry button the year before, the cousins and I all decided that we were just going to count quietly. We were going to try and keep a tally in our own heads of how many nasty things were said. And then we all sort of laughed about it later, and it just sort of kept us from being upset about it.
Right.
So anything you can do to make light of a situation is always better. But if there's content that could come up, like politics, where you're not going to agree at the table, then I think the $5 charity, jar is a great option. I also think it's just we are having a moratorium on this conversation. Right. No one's discussing it between this time and this time. If you want to talk about it outside the door. And then I probably would get a bell or a buzzer, and if anyone did it, I'd probably hit it. Be like,
like a big gong. Like
what about like one of those electric shock collars?
Oh yeah. Put everybody with a collar on, a shock collar.
Totally. That'll work very quickly.
That's probably abuse, not okay. But
oh yeah. So you're always the voice of reason.
I can't condone abuse.
Yeah.
at least not publicly on the air.
But we can all fantasize about the shock collar. Now, if a person does agree to it and they're willing to try it, then it certainly isn't abuse. It just becomes,
It just becomes another episode of 50 Shades of Grey. Yeah.
Yeah. So we actually have another caller today who wants to talk to Stacey and get a little bit of feedback on the holidays. So Melissa, are you with us?
I'm with you. Hi, how are you?
Hi, Melissa meets Stacey.
Hi, Stacey. How are you?
So what's your question?
Well, my question really is about my poor mother who has to deal with a lot this year. Last year, we lost my father to sudden death in January, and we've moved forward just fine with dealing with his will and his trust because he was an attorney. He made it very clear what he wanted. And we have a little sister who's 27 that is a birth daughter of my stepdad. My stepdad's been around since I was 2. And she found a loophole in the life insurance policies, and there's multiple, and found a way to exclude the other sisters, even though he handwrote the will. Now, my older sister and I are fine. We've moved on. She made it clear. She told us we're not blood, and we went, whatever, move on in life, good riddance. But my poor mother is coming to terms that she has a daughter that is not a nice person, who has rejected her own father's written will, who has left out her 2 sisters, her niece, and her 3 nephews. Even though we're all okay with it, my poor mother, as the holidays approach, she just wants us all to kiss and make up and let's get together for the holidays. And my older sister and I are to the point where she's pushing it so much, we feel like we have to walk away from her too.
Walk away from your mom?
Well, just to step back a little bit, not walk away, but just step back because she sends the 3 of us Bible verses and peace and love when my older sister and I are going, we're doing nothing but saying, okay, little sister, you're in your own little world and we'll move on. And my mom is just going, wait. She's yelling at us louder because her youngest is not listening at all. And she keeps trying to do these surprise get-togethers. And it's a mess. And with the holidays coming and we're doing an early Thanksgiving this weekend, we don't know if my little sister is going to be there or not. She made it very clear she doesn't want anything to do with us, that she's just doing what she wants. And we don't know what to do about the holidays. My older sister and I just want to have our nice holidays with our families and our kids and our mother, but not this horrible woman that literally took our children's college fund that their grandfather left them and our inheritance. We accept what she wants, but we just want to be done with her as a result.
Is she willing to be with you guys?
No, absolutely not. She doesn't want anyone to be, she would rather be around no one than somebody say to her, wow, you really hurt us and this is not what Dad wanted. She just doesn't want to be around us at all because she made a really, really bad decision and she wants to just be left alone with her bad decision. And we're okay with that. But my mother is not. She just says, let's just have nice holidays, everyone. And then she cries and goes, I wish there wasn't a life insurance policy. And we just don't know what to do about the holidays. My older sister and I just want to have a nice holiday.
So what exactly is your question? Because
how do we deal with having holidays when the 3 sisters don't want to be together, but the mother's forcing them together? That's my real question. How do we deal with my mother?
Okay, well, you're probably not going to like what I have to say. And I don't know if my 2 friends on this phone will agree with me, but I really feel strongly about it. I believe that you should suck it up for 1 hour a year for your mother. 1 hour, 1 event a year where she gets all of her kids together in the same room, not in a phony way, but I would probably do it in a restaurant or something where there's maybe a buffet and we're getting up and down. I would give her those moments because she's aging. She doesn't have her husband anymore. She is the victim of a horrible person who was selfish and unloving and is a relative. And I wouldn't want her to be punished anymore. So I'd want to give her something. If your sister doesn't go for it, then you're totally off the hook. But I would say that you say to her, you know what, I want you to be happy. So, we'll meet for drinks or we'll do a quick buffet brunch or whatever just so you can have us all in the same room. And we're not going to enjoy it, but we're going to do it.
So are you suggesting, Stacey, then maybe it's not necessarily Christmas Day, but say the morning of Christmas Eve and you have this family thing so that way they get the best of both worlds?
Right, that it's during the holiday season at some point. It doesn't even have to be that close to Christmas. It could be on the 21st or the 20th. But that it is that your mom gets, because she was hurt hugely also.
Oh,
but
I'm
she
so
wants
sad
her
for
children.
my mother.
What?
I said, I'm so sad for my mother.
I know. So she wants her kids together in a room. And as a mom, I get that. Even if, I always say I would never want my kid to do something horrible, but if they did, I would still love them. And that's what she's suffering from. So if I were you, I would try and throw her a bone. And doesn't have to be, you can make your actual holiday day the way you want it, but I would give it to her at some point once a year.
Okay.
She's your mom.
Well, I appreciate that. And I'm not too sure if it will even happen this year. On account of my little sister, after she made this decision a few months ago, when she made this decision and found the loophole, she blocked all of our phone numbers, many family members. She dropped Facebook. She changed her email address. And when I showed up at her house just to talk to her, she called the cops on me, even though I went very non-threatening, just going, hey, little sister, what in the world?
Right.
So she wants to be shut off. For instance, my older sister had to get a property tax bill from her, and my sister was able to get a hold of her through my mother. And what my little sister said was, tell her I'll put it under the doormat of the house, but she better not knock on the door because I don't want to see her. So she said, this is what my little sister said through her mother to my big sister.
Yeah.
When we heard that did anything. So probably this year it will not happen.
But you can get credit for trying. You can get mom credit.
And for literally being the big person in all of this. I mean, sometimes you have to call a truce for the sake of other people, and it sounds like, I think that's what Stacey's recommending.
Yeah, it would painful as it is.
Nice.
Yeah.
It would be nice, but really it's the worst is my poor mother who's just trying to process this. And she's shocked when her 26-year-old daughter relays through her to her 42-year-old daughter. We'll tell her not to knock on the door because I don't want to see her.
Right. Well, it sounds like she's feeling pretty guilty.
I would tell. Go ahead. I would tell your mom not to play post office, and to say I'm not sending messages between you people anymore. So there's text, there's email, there's a telephone, there's snail mail.
Well,
find a way to give the message yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, she shut all of that off.
Well, your mother's lucky to have you and your sister to be there for her, this holiday season.
But, I'm going to be honest. This is not a surprise to any of us. It's always been myself, my older sister, our families, and my mother. And then the younger one, and I'm not trying to stereotype millennials, but if you looked in the dictionary, she would be one. She's always some sort of come and gone. She shows up late, she leaves early, she contributes nothing, and she has a bad attitude when she does. And this has been forever. So this isn't surprising, and we never revolved anything around her anyway because she probably wasn't going to show up, or if she did, she was late with ratty hair and Rolling Stones sweatpants while the rest of us are dressed up for Easter. So we're continuing with the holidays like we always do, but it's more of a mental thing from my mother. She cries and says, I already went through divorces in my life. This is like a whole other divorce. And we go, we're sorry, Mom. We didn't want this. But it sure brings it more to the forefront. Even though it's been a few months and things have calmed down, it gets stirred back up during the holidays.
Well, your mom's also still grieving, and people grieve in different ways, and it manifests itself at different times. So I think we maybe having some extra compassion and just deep breaths can help.
We'll come over.
Yeah, we're lots of fun. We'll come over.
Melissa, thank you so much for calling.
Listen, anyone's welcome to come over. We have an open door policy.
Thank you, Melissa.
By the way, it's always nice to have a buffer when there's someone you don't like in the room. The more buffers, the merrier.
Exactly. Melissa, thank you so much for calling.
Melissa.
So Stacey, I know we only have another second. Where can people find you? So you're doing lots of seasons of Fatal Vows over there, right? Up in Canada.
I am. It's not airing until April.
Oh wow.
Are you looking for a house up in Canada too? That's really what you're doing up there, Stacey, isn't it? You're planning your exit.
Yes, I have been accused of that. I will say this. I am putting up on my Facebook page a article about how to deal with a narcissist for the holidays.
Oh, perfect.
That I wrote. So it's something that people could find, and I can be found on my website at staceykaiser.com.
Awesome. And we'll also link to it from our website. So Stacey,
thank
you so much.
Thank you for being our resident expert and making us feel a little bit better about the doom and gloom of the holidays.
Making it a little bit brighter.
Happy holidays, guys.
You too, Stacey. Thanks. the thing is, like, there are certain therapists that are on the air who are just mean and rude and like in your face with their advice. Like, what I like about Stacey is she's very direct. Like, she's not going to tell you what you want to hear, but at the same time, she's not like, like doctor.
Well, what I've also appreciated with Stacey is that she gives you tips that are actually like reasonable, and because to say things like establish boundaries and it was set your expectation. I mean, that's really hard. That is a life lesson,
yes.
And so I think when she says like suck it up, invite somebody over as a buffer, those are reasonable things that are baby steps. Those are things that people can actually implement as opposed to trying to change. Like Melissa and her sister, she's not going to change her younger sister. So what are the reasonable things that Melissa and her family can do to protect them?
And why do we always get so worked up when somebody else doesn't behave the way we would? You know what I mean? And that's just a life question. Like,
well, because sometimes there are some certain like social standards and efficacies that you do that when someone like there just are there are certain things that you just and
I hear you.
I don't know. So I appreciate that Stacey kind of tells it like it is, but she offers suggestions that are like, oh, yeah, I can actually do that.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but, and the fact is that, like, maybe you'll be uncomfortable, and sometimes we do have to just suck it up. Like, certain things in life are uncomfortable. That's part of being an adult, and sometimes we have to be around people that we don't prefer.
Yeah.
And so find other ways to treat yourself.
Right. Or just do what I know.
That's good.
Or in the words of our fearless new president-elect, stop it.
It's not fair.
It's not fair.
We'll be right back.
Subscribe to Broadscast on iTunes.
And we're back.
Oh.
Hey, so I'm very excited about the next episode. Can we talk about that for a few minutes?
Yep.
We have exclusive deals from some of our partners.
I know
we
this
have
episode.
Black Friday tips for people.
Do you do Black Friday?
I don't go to Black Friday.
Or do you do Cyber Monday? How do you not
there are
go?
Black Friday sales as well online.
Right.
I do Black Friday. So this year I feel like, all right, I'm going to get this stuff done early. The problem with me and getting stuff done early is that it gives me still a few more weeks to shop. And I love getting caught up in that. Like, I like shopping and I like choosing things for other people. So if I shop for you now, I'm going to shop for you again. Which is great for the recipients, but not so great for my budget.
I shop early and then forget that I've shopped.
Yeah.
And so I'm really good at hiding things. I found a present for Sam like 2 years later because I hid it so well. I'm not into,
like, here are these 6X pants, honey.
Yeah. I'm not into the Black Friday thing. Sam really wants to go. And he's like, can I just go with Antonise? She likes it. I'm like, Antonise is not going to take you on Black Friday shop. He really wants to go.
At like 3 o'clock in the morning?
Yes.
Yeah, no.
It's not happening.
I love waking up on that Friday at like 7 or 8 and like people have been shopping for 5 hours and I'm like, I had the best night's sleep.
Yeah, like I just don't. I can't do it. I don't like crowds. I'm good.
But we've got some amazing deals for.
Yes, and you don't even have to leave your house, right? For that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally. And I just think that and some really cool gift ideas too. So next episode, like I said, holiday gift guide.
And so we have some saving tips and
all of it.
Yeah.
It's like literally the 55 minutes.
It is our gift to you during the holidays.
Yes. It's the 55 minutes of your life that you need. And that will make the holiday season that much brighter.
And if you want to give some gifts to the Broads, you can go to our broadscast.com website. We've got a page that has special offers and some special things that we've secured for you in terms of like BarkBox and Audible.com. And so there's some Groupon, I think. Groupon special. But then also head on over to Patreon. We'll put a link up for that too. And you could give us I kind of want a gift this holiday season. What about you, Jackie?
I mean, I would love a gift. So we absolutely appreciate those who support the show. And because, for some reason it costs money to do stuff like this. So your support makes all the difference. And, can keep us living the life.
And then we've got gifts for you. And then it just keeps on coming.
I know. It's like the circle of gifts.
Yeah. So even if you wanted to give us a gift, we'll send you stuff and we'll give you thank yous on the air. And then maybe even invite you to be a co-host.
Oh, yeah. Over on
I mean, there's
Patreon.
so many gifts to be given.
There really are. So all of this can be found on broadscast.com. But also head over to our Facebook page, facebook.com/broadscast. And check us out on Twitter at Broadscast. I'm
where are you going with this? Yeah.
And Instagram.
Oh.
Because we want to know what you guys think. This show is about you. About you.
Yeah, we don't, I love Jackie so much, but I like hearing from other people, and knowing what people think about and what people struggle with. And then we can help find solutions.
Absolutely.
We're fixers.
We are. So hats off to the holiday season. I don't know why I'm saying hats off. That's weird.
I feel like all of a sudden, as soon as she said hats off, I can see the little peanut guy, that he did with what's the little
Mr. Peanut?
Mr. Peanut, for whatever reason. It's been a long
How about
morning.
we'll just leave you with that.
Okay.
So have a wonderful day.
You are listening to Broadscast. For more from the Broads, head to broadscast.com.